Splinters of enchanted steel rained from the heavens as the final barrier protecting the divine squad shattered into absolute nothingness. Bai knelt amidst the burning ruins of his base, his hands trembling as he cradled the broken weapons of his fallen comrades. The treacherous laughter of his trusted vice-captain echoed from the hovering golden chariot of the gods high above. A sudden, agonizing blast of holy energy pierced straight through Bai's chest, pinning him ruthlessly to the scorched earth. As his vision began to blur into total darkness, the colossal, crumbling form of Demon King Belel-Figor manifested from the shifting shadows. The dying entity extended a massive crystalline hand that radiated a deep, pulsing void energy toward the fallen hunter. Belel-Figor offered a final, desperate bargain to rewrite their horrific fates at the absolute cost of his remaining divine soul. Without a single second of hesitation, Bai spat blood onto the glowing contract and accepted the forbidden ritual of chronomancy. A massive, swirling vortex of dark purple mana violently enveloped Bai's entire body, tearing his consciousness away from the current timeline. The harsh, rhythmic ringing of a mechanical school bell suddenly shattered the heavy silence in his mind. Bai opened his eyes abruptly, finding himself sitting at a small wooden desk covered in elementary math doodles. He lifted his hands up to his face, staring intently at the tiny, uncalloused palms of his 8-year-old self. The calendar hanging on the front chalkboard clearly displayed the year as exactly 20 years in the past. A sudden familiar digital chime echoed directly inside his head, signaling the initialization of a completely new system matrix. A sleek holographic status window materialized before his eyes, pulsing with an iridescent multicolored light. The system prompt demanded that he select his primary core class from a massive list of legendary archetypes. Bai scanned the overpowered options, knowing full well that attracting early attention from the hidden gods would spell instant doom. With a subtle flick of his small finger, he bypassed the divine options and selected the standard lowest-tier warrior class. A heavy metallic notification confirmed his choice, officially registering him as a basic, non-attribute, F-rank warrior. Beneath that deceptive interface, a hidden secondary layer of the system silently unlocked all 12 elemental mastery branches simultaneously. He stood up from his desk as the final dismissal bell rang, his small backpack slung carelessly over one shoulder. Walking down the quiet concrete steps of the school, memories of his mother's current suffering flooded back into his mind. In this specific era, his father was a newly awakened hunter who used his low-grade powers to tyrannize their household with complete impunity. Bai clenched his small fists so hard that his knuckles turned completely white, swearing to end the domestic abuse permanently. He took a deep breath, consciously calming his racing pulse as he approached the rusty metal gate of his childhood apartment complex. Suddenly, a strange, localized distortion in the ambient mana caught his highly trained sensory perception near the courtyard alleyway. A localized F-rank spatial anomaly was slowly tearing open right behind a row of overflowing industrial trash bins. Instead of running away like an ordinary child, Bai stepped directly into the dark shadows of the alley to investigate the rift. From inside the crackling spatial rift, a low-tier shadow wolf emerged, its crimson eyes locked instantly onto the boy. Bai calmly analyzed the monster's stance, recognizing its exact behavioral attack patterns from hundreds of future raids. The shadow beast lunged forward with a ferocious snarl, its razor-sharp claws extended to tear his frail throat apart. With the flawless execution of a master hunter, Bai simply tilted his upper body 3 inches to the left, letting the beast fly harmlessly past. As the beast recovered its footing, Bai channeled a minuscule fraction of wind mana directly into his small, bare right fist. He delivered a precise, lightning-fast strike directly into the core junction behind the monster's front left shoulder blade. The shadow wolf let out a brief, muffled whimper before its smoky body completely dissipated into a cloud of harmless dark essence. A sleek system window immediately popped up, notifying him of a successful kill and awarding him 3 attribute points. Bai casually wiped a speck of black dust off his uniform coat, checking to ensure no regular citizens had witnessed the encounter. He turned back to face the small, unstable spatial rift, noting that it hadn't closed completely after the wolf's defeat. His vast knowledge told him that this wasn't a standard random rift, but rather an intentional scout portal sent by a nearby hidden dungeon. A sudden heavy tremor shook the entire brick alleyway as a massive armored skeletal hand forcefully gripped the edges of the tiny rift from the inside. The massive armored skeletal hand flexed its thick, calcified fingers as it ground against the shattering brickwork of the alleyway. Looking at the emerging monstrosity, Bai did not take a single step back, his young face remaining completely unbothered. He knew from his 20 years of future combat experience that this hidden F-rank rift contained a flawed structural anchor. With a swift, practiced motion, Bai drew his cheap, cracked iron sword, letting the tip lightly scrape the asphalt. The skeletal guardian roared silently, its crimson eye sockets flaring as it lunged its upper torso completely out of the tear. Bai instantly calculated the precise weight distribution of the monster's rusted iron chest plate to find its weakest point. Activating his omni-elemental core, he channeled a thin, concentrated stream of brilliant frost directly into the hilt of his weapon. The frozen blade pierced the central fissure of the monster's core with absolute terrifying precision. In a fraction of a second, the entire massive creature froze solid before shattering into thousands of harmless, glittering shards. A floating, translucent system window instantly appeared before his eyes, confirming his level increase and core stat allocation. This was only the beginning of his meticulous plan to quickly reach rank D before the official association registration opened. Over the next 3 weeks, Bai spent every single midnight tracking down undocumented low-tier dungeons across the district. He systematically cleared swamp rifts, abandoned basement gates, and hidden sewer crawl spaces without leaving a single trace behind. By utilizing advanced combat canceling mechanics, his small body bypassed the physical limitations of an unevolved child. Every single drop of experience point was instantly funneled into his hidden, infinite awakening system, inflating his hidden power. Yet, whenever he returned home before sunrise, the harsh reality of his current timeline would painfully crash back down. Through the thin walls, he could hear his mother softly weeping while his abusive, awakened father yelled in a drunken stupor. Gujan was a low-tier rank E hunter who used his minor awakening license to terrorize those who could not fight back. Instead of using brute force, which would alert the Hunter Association, Bai decided to utilize tactical legal maneuvers. He carefully documented every single unauthorized use of active mana inside a civilian residence over the past week. Under Article 12 of the new Hunter Safety Act, any unrecorded domestic mana discharge resulted in immediate license revocation. Bai did not take a single step back. His final trap remaining sprung on a rainy Tuesday afternoon when Gujan returned home, did not take a single step losing a guild his young face remaining completely unbothered. As Gujan raised his fist to strike Bai's mother, a heavy, invisible pressure suddenly locked his entire body in place. Bai subtly released just an ounce of his regressed sovereign aura, completely paralyzing his father's low-tier nervous system. Right at that exact second, 3 heavily armored Association enforcement officers broke through the main windows. Caught red-handed with active combat mana, activated against civilians, Gujan was instantly slammed onto the floor and cuffed. With a permanent restraining order signed and his father's hunter status stripped away, his mother was finally, truly safe. Having secured his home front, Bai focused entirely on breaking past the next major milestone of his awakening. His quiet contemplation was interrupted by Minji, the strict class representative, who was handing out weekly study guides. Before Bai could even reach out to take the papers, the bright afternoon light outside completely inverted into a deep, sickly crimson. A high-pitched, deafening siren blared across the academy grounds as a rare, localized school layer suddenly manifested. The space twisted violently, completely separating Bai and Minji from the rest of the escaping student body. Minji collapsed to her knees, trembling uncontrollably as she stared at the terrifying black thorns growing along the lockers. Bai recognized this instantly as a Class A sealed layer, an artificial dimensional trap set up by a corrupt faction. To break a sealed layer from the inside without alerting the outside world, he needed to unlock a specific hidden class change. He rapidly accessed his infinite system, sacrificing 3 low-tier masteries to forcibly trigger the hidden Rune Knight subclass. From the shadows at the end of the hall, 5 massive wolf-like entities made of pure obsidian stone lunged forward simultaneously. With his newly acquired class sub-skills, Bai masterfully combined his physical warrior sword strikes with high-tier runic explosions. He moved like a ghost, shattering 3 stone beasts in a single continuous spinning slash that left a trail of stardust. Piercing the final beast's skull, he channeled the residual runic energy directly into the core anchor of the sealed layer. Minji stared in absolute open-mouthed shock, utterly unable to comprehend how her quiet classmate possessed such godlike strength. With a massive shattering sound like breaking glass, the entire layer collapsed, instantly returning the school hallway back to normal. Bai quickly sheathed his weapon and turned to Minji, warning her to keep everything she saw an absolute secret. However, as he turned toward the exit, a sudden piercing chill ran down his spine as a glowing golden eye materialized directly on his palm. A deeply resonant, mocking echo of a fraudulent deity vibrated inside his skull, whispering that his regression had already been compromised. The mocking voice of the fraudulent deity echoed within Bai's mind, but he merely tightened his grip on his iron blade with a cold smile. Shrugging off the divine psychological pressure, he stepped onto the sleek boarding platform of the elite international transport ship. The massive vessel lifted off smoothly, piercing through the dense cloud layer to reveal the gleaming white spires of the floating celestial city. Corrupt divine nobles sat in luxurious, elevated glass viewing decks, looking down at the arriving trainee hunters like mere playthings. Bai adjusted his tactical combat vest as the international hunting tournament was officially announced over the megacity loudspeakers. While the other student competitors rushed eagerly into the designated hunting grounds, Bai deliberately veered off toward the restricted northern sector. He utilized his advanced stealth mechanics to completely erase his physical presence and mana signature from the high-tech security sensors. The red security lasers passed directly through his translucent shadow form without triggering a single alarm. Descending deeper into the earth, he reached the massive, heavy blast doors that marked the entrance to the forbidden abyss. Drawing upon his extensive future knowledge, his fingers danced across the complex digital locking mechanism to bypass the divine encryptions. With a deafening mechanical hiss, the heavy doors split open to reveal an endless dark void radiating pure, suffocating malice. Without a single moment of hesitation, Bai leaped downward into the absolute darkness of the forbidden abyss. He executed a perfect wind elemental pulse right before hitting the ground, landing silently upon the ancient stone floor. In the center of the vast cavern, chained to massive pillars of divine light, sat the colossal form of the imprisoned demon king Samuel. Samuel slowly raised his heavy horn-crowned head, his burning crimson eyes locking onto the small human intruder. Bai walked forward fearlessly, his blue eyes glowing brightly as he channeled his inherited omni-elemental authority. He demanded an absolute contract of mutual destruction against the fraudulent gods, offering the ancient monarch his long-awaited freedom. Recognizing the terrifying potential of the young boy's boundless soul, Samuel let out a low, rumbling laugh of agreement. Bai plunged his infused iron sword directly into the primary divine anchor, triggering his infinite awakening system to overwrite the seal. The thick, golden chains of light shattered into thousands of harmless, sparkling fragments as the ancient demon king broke free. Leaving Samuel to gather his immense primordial strength in the dark, Bai quickly ascended back up toward the city's critical infrastructure. He slipped unnoticed into the primary Eastern Energy Matrix chamber, which powered the city's anti-gravity thrusters. With a swift, precise strike of his shadow-infused hand, he severed the primary coolant lines feeding the core. Alarms blared across the entire facility as the Eastern Matrix immediately began its catastrophic thermal overload sequence. Bai did not stop to watch the chaos, instantly blinking through space to arrive at the Western Energy Matrix. He overloaded his iron weapon with destructive frost mana, jamming it directly into the rapidly spinning gyroscopic stabilizers. The massive mechanical gyroscope locked up violently, sending powerful destructive shockwaves ripping through the city's substructures. Up on the surface, the luxurious sky palaces began to tilt dangerously as the floating city lost its structural equilibrium. Corrupt divine nobles screamed in utter terror, throwing away their fine wines as their golden paradise began to fall from the sky. Seizing the perfect moment of absolute vulnerability, thousands of enslaved demi-humans and lower-class workers rose up in unison. Demon King Samuel burst out from the subterranean abyss, his massive shadow enveloping the entire central stadium complex. Supported by the rampaging Demon King, the empowered slave army successfully overwhelmed the disoriented Divine Guard forces. Bai stood atop the highest peak of the central palace spire, looking down calmly at the absolute collapse of the fraudulent regime. He extended his right hand, his infinite awakening system activating one last time to absorb the pure, shattered divine essence of the falling city. The fraudulent deities who had once orchestrated his tragic betrayal were now nothing more than stepping stones for his absolute ascension. With the corrupt foundations completely torn down and his mother permanently safe from harm, true peace finally settled over the rewritten world. His long, grueling journey of tactical regression and absolute vengeance had finally reached its perfect, flawless conclusion. No longer a helpless pawn of deceptive gods, Bai sat comfortably upon his newly forged throne as the one true sovereign of the universe.